Welcome. Okay, so let's power up. I think this is just a fabulous heading for this session. My name is Charlotte McLean-Nhlapo. I'm the Global Disability Advisor at the World Bank Group in Washington, D.C. And I'll be the moderator for this session. So I'm really excited by this session because the session brings people from regional hubs, from regional tech forums, from various labs. And just this week, back at the Tech Forum, many of them presented the interesting innovations that they're working on. They presented cutting-edge technology that looks at accessibility for all. This afternoon, we are live at the Zero Conference, and we will present to you a sample of some of the great products and innovations that have been developed. Now, fortunately for me, I do not need to describe and explain to this group how important accessible ICT is for disability inclusion. We get it, don't we? So what I'd like to do is move beyond why this is important to actually hear from those that are innovating and creating tools and products that truly are impactful. We've got an hour, and it's packed with 5 high-impact presentations, and we're going to ask them to speak to the 5 minutes so we can carve out some time for questions and answers, comments from the floor. So without further ado, let's start. It's showtime. So to dive in and to understand a bit more about what's going on in terms of accessible ICT and scalable, I underscore, scalable and inclusive ICT innovations, I'd like to first invite Martin Fung, who's the CEO and funder of TG Kids. So over to you, Martin.
Thank you, Charlotte. I just want to check and ensure the slides is right. Thank you very much. All right. Really honored to be at the stage here today, presenting to all of you scalable, sustainable ICT model. What we specifically look at is how do we empower the ecosystem, an AI-powered, home-based early intervention system, anytime, anywhere, and by anyone. So we will be talking about this topic. And first, let me present a very gloomy outlook. The global prevalence of developmental delay and developmental conditions actually increased 70 times for the last 30 years. Yet the number of specialists actually increased from 0.5 to 1.5%, depending on which part of the world you are. Now, then you ask yourself, why is there such a big increase? Is it because there are more children who are diagnosed or whatever reason? Well, there's basically a demand and supply thing. Parents becoming more and more aware that their children require additional help. And the supply, which is the specialists themselves, is not catching up to train anyone who is a specialist, be it a speech therapist, occupational therapist, or even developmental pediatricians. It takes years, right? So with parents becoming ever more aware, it makes things very difficult for the supply side to catch up. So what is TG Kids? Well, the TG Kids is a child development specialist assistant. It consists of an AI onboarding developmental survey, and we align that to the US CDC standards. So parents will come on board, they will do a developmental survey screening, very quick one, and after which each child will have its dedicated and tailor-made pathway for learning. Now, parents don't need to really trouble in terms of what to do, what to learn. The app will prompt in terms of what they need to do. We know that as parents, they become worried, and as such, we have this on-demand teleconsultation service with licensed therapists. And in the meantime, while waiting for official or rather social resources or even healthcare to come in, we have a developmentally trained chatbot, and we consistently improve the performance. And to keep everything all together, definitely, we really want to render support and help immediately to parents who first detect that there is something challenging with the child and they need help. So to drive financial sustainability, which is the heart of what we do here, we have app subscription, which we run a freemium model. The second is the total consultation sessions, right, the teleconsultation sessions. And of course, we acquire customers directly with the business-to-business acquisitions, the clinics and healthcare providers that we work with, as well as directly to customers, to our followers on the social media and everything else. And we track every step of the way in terms of where are they coming in, where are they dropping out. I think this is where data really make a lot of difference. So this is where the global paw print today. Now, if you look at it, we are very, very focused in the Indian market. And other than India, we're also in the Middle East. You see a small paw print in Singapore because, well, we call ourselves the little red dot, right? A small footprint over there. We also have collaborations in New Zealand as well as in parts of the States. Now, currently, we have a total user pool about 3,000. It's still growing. We have a subscription base about 450. Not yet becoming financially sustainable, I always say, but we are growing. We have partner schools that is growing. We have the ongoing research. More importantly, the users are telling us that, well, I find it useful. And they are spending time in the app. The parents feel empowered. And what we are looking at is increase in caregiver confidence, increase in a sense of control, and even reducing something that is very deadly, what is called the awareness delay, all the way down to 18.7 months old. What we want to target by the end of 2026, 60,000 downloads, 2,000 paid subscribers, 500 monthly teleconsultation sessions. What is our ask? We are here. Definitely fundraising is a big part of it, but beyond fundraising, the fund is used for product improvement, accreditation, go-to-market and user acquisition, which is extremely important. We are open to collaboration, to different instruments for funding. Very importantly, being in Singapore, I always say that we are very fortunate. A lot of funds, in fact, are also partly supported by the Singapore government as well. So that kind of reduce the risk of many people putting into a Singapore entity. But we also welcome other industry players, other industry partners, or even educators, healthcare, researchers, anyone who want to bring us to your community to strike a win-win conversation. And last but not least, together, our vision is to empower every child to reach its full potential. And our mission really is to empower the ecosystem because parents know their kids best. And together, we won't truly solve it, but we become part of the positive change for global accessibility to early intervention. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Martin. And I was really impressed by Tiggy Kids in terms of your focus on both the supply, addressing the issue around supply and demand, because that's really important. And then providing an app that's quite holistic as a screening tool that can be used by families and caregivers. But what I also really took away from your message is the importance of having data and having this evidence base. So that's a really important piece. Your paw print looks great. Clearly, there's room to grow. So if there are any funders in the room, have a chat with Martin after. So we're going to move along to our next speaker. And our next speaker is Hee Gong. And he is the co-founder of Finger Dance Limited. Hee?
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Gong He. My first name is He, and my last name is Gong. Today, I'm wearing black jacket and black pants. At Finger Dance, our vision is to make sign language available everywhere while our inclusive AI infrastructure. Over the world, there are more than 70 million deaf people communicate using over 300 different sign languages. However, due to the global shortage of sign language interpreters and the limited awareness of sign language culture and deaf culture, the sign language information barriers exist in daily lives. For example, at railway stations or airports, usually they just have audio announcements and don't have a sign language versions. For learning materials, many materials don't have sign language versions. In this case, there are lots of barriers for our deaf friends in daily life. To address this challenge, we developed a finger-dance AI sign language large language model. Our AI model can generate sign language videos from text, audio, and even video input. Now we support 3 sign languages: Singapore Sign Language, American Sign Language, and Chinese Sign Language. And this year, we aim to expand to 5 sign languages. And also, we can support multiple spoken language inputs. And at Fingerdance, we do sign language central development process. We have in-house staff employees living in different countries. And also, all our developers are actively learning multiple sign languages to ensure our model aligns with the sign language linguistic. Our product has been used in different use cases in real world, including education, vocational training, public transportation, and also the public venue like libraries. So first, for education and vocational training, we have SciGen, a sign language video generation platform. It's a website. Anyone can upload documents, audio, or video into our website platform, and then we will generate the sign language videos automatically. And for our education and training users, they can embed the generated sign language videos into the original learning materials, allowing the deaf learners access this content independently. We also deployed Sylvia, sign language virtual assistant, at Singapore's Chinatown MRT station. She has 2 functions. First, translate audio MRT announcement into sign language announcement in real time, and also answer passenger inquiries together with an AI chatbot in both Singapore Sign Language and English. And by the end this year, we will also deploy Sylvia at more regions. Okay. And here is an announcement video. Yeah. Okay. And beyond public transportation, we also want to enhance accessibility across digital and physical spaces. For example, at library, we integrate our solution together with some chatbots, and this service we call Copilot. It's a sign language translation plugin. You can integrate into different public information kiosks. It can be also used as a browser extension to add sign language information to your website or other digital displayer. Okay. And we committed to global, and we have global commitment to make scalable impact. So now, this year, we will expand to 5 different sign languages, and at the same time, we are also developing different hyper-realistic digital humans to help global users access our product. And these are 5 potential options in the future you can use. And in the past 1 year, from 2024 to 25, our revenue grew by over 270%. And in the past 12 months, we raised more than $1.5 from grants and investors. And our product have benefit more than 10,000 deaf people across Asia. For example, we serve the National Special Olympics in China, and we provide daily services at public transportation hubs in Singapore. So today, we are looking for $3 million investment to accelerate our product development to support more sign languages. And also, we want to use this money to build a global team. We also look forward to working together with global partners, like from education, vocational training, public transportation, public service sectors. And we really appreciate Zero Project for this opportunity. If you would like to continue this conversation, please scan this QR code. You can follow us on LinkedIn, and you can also reach out to me via LinkedIn or WhatsApp. Let's build a smarter and more inclusive world together. Thank you. We are Fingerdance.
Fingerdance, what a cool name. 300 different sign languages, that's a lot. And it seems like you're beginning to tackle them slowly, but incrementally, which is also exciting. I was really interested in the AI sign language model. And I think it's very interesting that in the work that you're doing, you're using it across various sectors, so you're not confining it to a particular sector. But in addition to that, not only is this a good tool for deaf individuals, but it's also good for hearing individuals. And I think that shows the universality of the product that you're designing. So wow, I hope you continue to grow the number of languages, and if anybody's interested in financing, please speak to he. So we're going to move on, and our next speaker is Kavi, and Kavi is the founder. Sarah. No, let's go with Kavi. Oh. Okay. So Kavi, we're going to go with you. And you're the founder of UDOT. That's right. At least I got that part right. And you're going to talk to us for 5 minutes about what you're doing.
Which is the button to go next? This one? Okay. Hi, everyone. Is my... Okay, great. So I also have my tactile display, which is a product on my lap. So it literally has 2,000 plus raisable pins, and they represent various graphics for blind students to touch and feel and understand different content, which I'm going to talk about. UDOT came to be because of one pressing problem around education for blind kids. Yes, sir. Yeah, so if you were in 4th grade or 3rd grade, or you were a young child, right, you would have 5 classes of mathematics a week. Your teacher would be drawing on the blackboard or a whiteboard in some cases. You would have a textbook that you would have to reference. Your learning not just comes from what is being taught in class, but also what you've learned around you in your daily life, looking at how a car kicks up dirt when its wheels are rolling and so many other things. All of that is not available to a blind student. In fact, thousands of graphics are just missing every year. So teachers, what can they do in this situation? They have 30 other students in their classroom to deal with. They cannot pay attention to this one student. Some people do try. Out of maybe thousands of graphics, they may be able to make 20, 30. They make it by sticking threads on paper or other different methods. But end of the day, teaching a blind student is a fairly slower process when dealing with such content. You would have to hold their hand, point at the different parts of the diagram you want to explain. It is not something like you just draw on a blackboard, point at an angle, talk about its relation to another angle, and you're done. So because of this, what ends up happening is that parents have to spend a lot of money trying to get special educators. Teachers try a lot, institutions try a lot, governments try, but end of the day in India, for example, after you're 11 years old, you're not even allowed to do these subjects in blind schools. So UDOT solution is very simple. We are basically building a tactile display that renders the said graphical information. And then on top of that, what we do is we make learning content for blind kids. So we just tell a government or a student or a parent that, hey, let's say I'm talking to a parent, I'm going to tell you that your child is not able to learn so-and-so concepts in school. We have a curriculum mapped solution. Basically, there's this device, and then there's an education platform that runs on top of it. Just like you would consume videos on YouTube, play animated games and whatnot, we have curriculum mapped content that gets you to the same learning outcome as expected of any sighted student. So if you're talking about the Cambridge Board of Education, then UDOT's content exactly maps to every single learning outcome. So if you're in 4th grade and you're learning how to compare fractions on a number line, UDOT has a game and a content piece that is made for that. So we kind of handhold the student right from grade 1 all the way until grade 10 and beyond through these content pieces, and you will be able to independently perform just as much as any sighted child is expected to without having to wait for a special educator, without having to wait around for resources to be made. UDOT has been live for a year now. We are a 3-year-old company, but the technology that I have made is incredibly hard to do so. In fact, today, even if you wanted to buy a single device, it would cost you anywhere between $6,000 to $18,000 US. UDOT is an educational company. It is not a tactile display solution itself. We make sure the child learns and gets the outcome they deserve. We started with pilots in NAB, Delhi, and other blind schools around a year ago. At that point, we started with older kids. Our perspective was, hey, you know what, science and math is really difficult in the older grades. Let me do advanced circle theorems, matrix manipulation, all these other things. We did it, but then the problem was there were hardly any kids doing it. So UDOT slowly trickled to the younger grades. And now we've proven through multi-week pilots that yes, kids can learn. It is possible, and you can do it in the same time frame that a sighted student learns it. So my goal over the next 1 year is very simple. As we ramp up production, we are building champions of UDOT. I'm going to put this device all around the world in the major countries and major hotspots to prove that it is possible for a blind child to learn independently, and you can do so at the same level of proficiency. So if you're an educator, you have access to resources, blind schools, organizations, distribution, partnerships, please talk to me after this. Once we seed these champions of UDOT, I think people will automatically realize that, hey, this is actually working, this is something that will meaningfully bring a change, and a whole generation of blind students will grow up with the awareness that these two subjects or any visual subject is not something that's difficult, and I can be a competitive participant, not just in education, but also in the workforce. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Kavi. I just love that UDOT's addressing the visual curriculum gaps. And that it's pretty striking when you think about it, that 5% graphics can be made in tactile. I mean, that's a very tiny percentage. So clearly that's the space where more work needs to be done. I'm pretty shocked by the cost of it, and so hopefully as you begin to scale up, the price will reduce in terms of its production. And then I think I was also very excited to hear that what UDOT does is it allows a child who's blind to have the same time frame as a child who's sighted. So it doesn't other the other child. So I think that's a really important feature. And I love your boldness. So thank you very much for that. So now we go to Sarah. I got this right, Sarah? And Sarah's the head of communication team at TIC-TAC.
Right, don't mind if I stand, right? Okay, AI, artificial intelligence. It's ever-changing and moving very rapidly. More so that what we learn today is no longer valid tomorrow. And in TIC-TAC, through our ground research with our engagement partners and beneficiaries, there was one main concern that was identified, and that is employment, right? And ever more so for our vulnerable groups of PWDs. Just to get a census, raise up your hand if you feel that the rate of unemployment among PWDs is less than 50%. Less than 50%. Okay, now raise up your hand if you think the rate of unemployment is more than 50% for PWDs. Right. Those who raised up your hand in the second portion, you are correct. The average estimation is between 50 to 70% among PWD's unemployment rates. And this differs from country to country, which is why at TIC-TAC, we aimed and we envisioned for everyone to benefit from working in the AI economy. So just to share a bit about TIC-TAC, what we do, we are a company that focuses on AI solutions for corporates and community partners. And what we do is we do data collection, data annotation, and quality control. So to give it in a very simple terms, let's say you require an AI solution that generates video of animals. So we collect a group of pictures for dogs. So first you have to collect the picture of dogs, and then you have to annotate them, let's say in terms of their breed, German Shepherds, Poodles, etc. After you have done that, you have to make sure that you do a quality control check to ensure that the data that you're feeding into the machine is accurate. We don't want a scenario where you wanted a German Shepherd, but you end up getting a Persian cat, right? And we have a 95% accuracy rate in the work that we do in TIC-TAC. So the first mobile-friendly TIC-TAC app was created for the purpose of everyone to participate in the AI economy, right? And what you see over here, it is improved versions, like many versions before we got it to this stage. First stages were wordy, there was no pictures, but now we have gone to a scenario where you can do different types of tasks, image, audio, video, text, etc., etc. And it's very simple. It's gamified, so you just need to pick a task, you tag it, you collect your coins, which is your rewards, and then you redeem your rewards in terms of either cash or prizes. So what is the purpose of this app itself? It is to firstly provide a side gig work, which is side income. Secondly, we work with the different groups of persons with disabilities, physical, mental, and different spectrums. So for those who are unable to commit into employability level, we use it as a brain stimulation and engagement. And of course, skills development for our vulnerable groups to upskill themselves so that they can then be employed by other agencies. So what you might feel that the impact that they give, right, is to a bigger picture, and that is this that you see on the screen. So some examples is defect detection and pothole detection. So prevention is better than cure, and this is what our taggers, or we call them impact taggers, are involved in a bigger picture. And our products and services are only as good as the people who uses it, right? So that is why we heavily engage in groundwork and outreach and engagement. We co-curate the app along with the beneficiaries, along with our partners, to make sure that it's accessible by everyone and they understand what they are doing. So our story, basically we have over 30 years of combined AI experience. We are accredited by IMDA, which is a Singapore government agency, where data privacy is always a key concern, and that is what we also make sure that we adhere to it. We are based in HQ in Singapore, but we have expanded to Hong Kong, South Korea, Indonesia, and now we are in Vietnam and Japan as well. And what we are looking for funding, of course. We are hoping to fundraise about 1.5 million. We are looking for partnerships to expand further in terms of both our impact taggers as well as community partners. And before I complete, I would just like to end off with a slogan to say that what good is data if data is not used for good? Thank you very much. My name is Sarah from TICTEC.
Excellent, thank you, Sarah. And coming from an institution where data is the currency, it's really great to hear what you're doing in terms of AI solutions. And I really like the fact that you're looking at data collection, data annotation, and data training. And I think that's really important because you're looking at the whole process and you're not just looking at one point and part of it. And then I think what really struck me, and I think this is very important when we talk about AI, is the importance of quality control. And that becomes really important within the context of disability inclusion. And then I think the fact that you're co-creating this with organizations of persons with disabilities gives it the legitimacy that's required, and obviously gives it more intentionality in terms of what's being developed. So thank you very much, and thank you for flagging the importance of data privacy, because that too is a really critical issue going forward. So last but certainly not least, I would like to invite Shadra Agrawal. And Shadra is from Science Setu. And over to you.
Hello, is this working? At Science Setu, we are not trying to prove that language deprivation exists. We are proving that when the learners learn through sign language, literacy follows. As a deaf founder, I've studied in both India and UK across different education systems, where I face the same challenge, where acquiring education required double the effort. Science Setu was not built out of empathy. We built it out of evidence. Science Setu is Science's first educational platform for deaf learners, teaching concepts in Indian Sign Language and building literacy through two-way visual learning. And this is not just translation. It is pedagogy designed for how deaf learners acquire language. And that difference is visible in our pilots. So we have done a couple of pilots. The first pilot we took for a period of 1 month, where we saw deaf children moving from low performers to average performers and average performers to bright performers. And then we began to look for a longer period of pilot for 3 months, where we saw that around 74 deaf learners began acquiring vocabulary consistently in weeks rather than months, up to 60% improvement. And it also reduced teachers' workload. Here is an example. As you can see, the child is learning in real time from the platform. As you can see, the enthusiasm when a deaf learner gets to learn a word or a sentence. This is another case study where we have observed that even when deaf learners have multiple disabilities, they were able to acquire vocabulary consistently. Sensitive is not content, teacher, or geographic specific or dependent. Sensitive is language agnostic. And currently we're focusing on strengthening the Indian Sign Language content at scale. And we have received multiple national awards in such a span of 1 year. And I'm glad to share the good news with you that we have signed an MOU with ISLRTC for curriculum and Indian Sign Language standards according to the Indian National Sign Language. We are looking for partnership and funding to help us scale from 150 to 10,000 learners and to execute a system-level adoption. And by 2035, our goal is to build a science-first educational infrastructure capable of reaching up to 40 million deaf learners through literacy and education. And when deaf learners are taught in their language, literacy follows. And when literacy follows, independence becomes possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shadra. And I think what's, again, very exciting is that Science Situ is built on evidence. And this is really important because if you're going to scale, it's very important to have that base. I also like the point that you made that it's not just translation, and that it's pedagogy, and that it's not geography dependent, which is also very interesting because that means you can use it in different parts of the country, but certainly it could be explored in different parts of the world. And the video was wonderful to just see the enthusiasm of the young people in the video. And I think what's come out from all the presentations, really, all the pitches, has been the importance of co-creation, the importance of evidence and data, the importance of partnerships, the critical need for funding to ensure that things can go to scale. But I think you'll all agree with me that this has just been an extremely interesting set of pitches that are showing new innovations that absolutely present some excellent opportunities to ensure that there is more universally accepted, universally inclusive design in the world. So what I'd like to do now is open up for any questions, comments, offers for 1.5 million, and let's see what we've got. Yeah, we've got somebody in the front. Can we get a? Oh, you got a mic.
Yeah, I got it.
Please introduce yourself and say who you'd like to respond, or if it's to all the speakers. Thank you.
Of course. Good evening, everyone. It's Hassan, and I come from Jordan. I live in Italy for my master's study. Well, I have I couldn't hold myself not to say this. I'm truly, truly, truly impressed of how technology innovation is actually shifting. We're now a little bit more released for the future, because living with disability, with this kind of technology that we are having right now, does not have to cost you a fortune. I have to really thank from the bottom of my heart. I am totally blind, so I know what does it mean to live with disability. So thank you from my heart to all the speakers for creating what you guys are creating, and we're looking forward to a better future for everyone with more inclusive world. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any other comments? I'm looking in the room. Looking. Any other thoughts? Questions? Suggestions? Yes, come back in, please.
So our fellows from Singapore, good job again. And I'm very curious about the application that does the inclusive education for children. And you mentioned that you are starting in the Middle East, and I'm wondering which countries are you working with right now, and if it's available for more internationalization. I think in Italy there's a disaster unfortunately, with children who are living with disabilities. So I think it also Jordan as well. So I'm just wondering, with internationalization, where are you going, and if you guys are open. I think you mentioned that you're open for partnerships with NGOs, with organizations and school, right? Another more question to our fellow from India, Karthik, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, about that braille display, about the cost. You mentioned that, I mean, I know that, of course, if you want to purchase a braille display, usually tactile education, for educational purposes, is going to cost you a fortune. That's obvious. But what cost are we talking about right now, or in the upcoming future? How much the cost will be reduced with this U-Dot device? Thank you.
So some excellent questions. I'm going to hand over to Martin to answer the first question, and then to Kavi on the U-Dot question.
Testing. Oh, this works.
Good.
Okay, so I will just try to clarify the question. What I'm hearing is you would like to find out, number one, whether the Tiki app would be applicable to other countries other than the one that we are currently operating or trying to acquire customers from, right? And exactly where in Middle East are we operating? So currently in the Middle East, we have one project site, and that would be one project site which is in Dubai, with a child development clinic, and we are going to start two more sites, one in Al-Ain, another one is in Abu Dhabi, but these are both public healthcare hospitals, right? So we would be beginning as to all market entry, especially with children products. Data privacy is extremely important. That's the first part of it. But the evidence to prove whether it works is extremely important as well, because you want to gain confidence. So whether we want to enter a market, sometimes there's also this period of time where we need to implement it in a small community, test it out, make it well, and then talk about larger adoption. So there's something that we constantly work with. If there are partners who wants to bring Tiki into your community, definitely feel free to reach out to us. Now, the other thing that, before I pass it to Kavi, is we spoke a lot on in different localization contexts. One of the key challenge, although you will say today we have artificial intelligence, we would be able to translate that into many different languages. That being said, when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to anything that's children related, you need to be accurate. And translating our library of 1,400 videos into accurate language, it takes a lot of effort. So that human in the loop is extremely important. For us, definitely training the large language model is a big part of it. It sucked up a lot of costs. Probably you can have another conversation. But in terms of localization, in terms of language localization, we are only looking at launching language pack every 3 months. And that itself will take up a lot of resources itself. So I hope I answered some of the question, and I pass it to Kavi.
Sure. Thank you. So to your question, UDOT is kind of selling as not a device, but kind of like a school, right? Like you're an educational package offering. So in fact, amongst our offerings is not just the tactile display, but other tools, even hardware tools that ensure you get to the point you need to get to. So let's say in Austria, for a family or anything, the whole solution comprehensively per year would cost like $500. So that includes the education, the device, and everything. So it's like an annual fee of a kind, if that's a comparable that works. So it's like your school in a way, where your science, math, and other visual subjects would be available, and also the device. But yeah, this is kind of tentative, so yeah.
Thank you. I'm going to come back to all the panelists and ask them where they want to go next. But before I do that, I'm going to invite Wilfred to come up and just say a few words.
Thank you, Charlotte. The innovations you have seen are a result of the expansion of the Zero Project Technology Forum. We had 2 local ones last year, one in Bangalore, where our Indian friends applied and won, and another one in Singapore. And through the very, very good and fruitful cooperation with Unexcluded, with Gossip Deveklar, we were able to source more innovations to present to the Zero Project. How does this work? We have developed the Zero Project Technology Forum 4 years ago in order to give a chance to technology to really scale and grow on a much more rapid scale. And I think scalability and also affordability are the main criteria. So we have created this technology forum, which is usually the afternoon before the conference, where we have innovations like you have seen. This year we had a total of 22 who pitch to an audience of what we call partners. These partners are corporations like Google, Microsoft, Apple, Cisco, and so on, banks. For the first time this year, we also had the European Investment Bank, which has quite a large sum to invest also into social causes. And the third group of these partners are what we call scaling partners, who can really take some innovation and scale them in different environments. And in order to bring this even more rapidly to the community, we have decided to go locally, and this year we will also have Singapore again. We are negotiating India, and we are planning also to go to Latin America with the Technology Forum. And we think it's really necessary that we speed up in order to bring solutions to the community. Thank you, Charlotte.
Thank you very much, Wilfred. So please feel free to reach out to the panelists and learn a bit more about their work and see how you might be able to use it in your context. Because the idea is not to replicate, it's to scale. So please do that. So I'm going to start off at the beginning with Sarah. And Sarah, just give us, I mean, you're doing an amazing amount of work right now, but what next?
All right, excellent question. So firstly, we have to double down on whatever that we are already doing right. So that includes accessibility, right? So where our app started that I mentioned before, it was very wordy, not much pictures. There was a lot of issues when we actually went to the ground and tried it out. And even now, it has improved in many versions, even to the fact the latest update that we did was for dexterity issues, where people couldn't pinch to zoom in the app itself. So we redesigned it to be a one-point system that they can easily zoom in and zoom out when tagging certain data. Of course, something that I learned here was the importance of sign languages, right? So that is something that we will probably be looking into moving forward to embed that into our app itself so that we can reach out to a bigger group. Secondly will be skills upgrading. There's a continuous need for skills upgrading for our PWDs, as well as other vulnerable groups, because many of them are not even aware of what is artificial intelligence, and they have a negative mindset behind it. So there's a lot of efforts to reframe mindsets and stereotypes first, before even moving to the app itself. And number 3 will be partnerships. It's very, very important to have community partnerships, social service partnerships, and corporate partnerships to create an inclusive society for everyone. In a world where AI is now currently automating our daily works in the sense, administrative stuff, TIC-TAC is trying to add the human in the AI,
Fantastic.
the human in the loop. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Great. I'm going to hand over to Shadra for her next steps.
Thank you. Yeah. So right now we're looking for funding to help us create awareness among multiple stakeholders like parents, teachers, policy decision makers, and even the children. Because right now what has happened in the deaf education is that everyone works in silos. So we would like to create awareness, and along with that we would like to do market adoption, wherein we would actually market our product into Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 cities of India. And also build a world-class team to make this team reachable to every part of the world. Thank you.
Thank you. And we go to he.
Okay, thank you. So first, for finger dance is partnership. Now we are continue to expand to more sign languages. So we look forward to working with more partners, like some deaf signers, interpreters, sign language researchers, to work together to further research sign language linguistics across different countries. And we want to use this linguistic knowledge and to let AI model to follow the linguistic knowledge. So this is the first thing, the partnership, together with the deaf community across different countries. And also about partnership, but it's for different use cases, including education, training, public transportation, and other public service like library, museums. So for this, we would like to work together with global partners to make sign language available everywhere. And for the last part, it's come to the AI itself. We will continuously to upgrade our AI model to make it more intelligent, to provide better and better sign language videos. So in one-liner, we want to work together with global partners to make a smarter and a more inclusive world with AI, with inclusive AI infrastructure. Thank you.
All right, and let's go to you, Kavi.
Yeah, so to reiterate, we are setting up at least 200 devices this year around the world. The goal is to prove that this works, to prove that STEM learning, science and math learning is possible at scale without the need for system level changes, because you can't move giant objects really quickly. So, but this works without the need for a lot of stakeholders. If you are looking to fund STEM learning solutions through these different pilots that we're stepping up, that we're putting out, talk to us. If you're connected to blind organizations or lead any efforts in enablement for blind kids, please talk to us. And yeah, like any way that you think you can help us, because the message needs to go, it's not just developing countries that need this, every country in the world needs it. If you're thinking that US is exempt from this problem or some other country is exempt from this problem, that's not the case. So let us do this, let us put it out everywhere to the people who matter, to the institutes who can make a decision next year telling this actually works, and let's scale this to every single student who deserves this.
Excellent points. It's not just a developing country issue, it's a universal issue. So thank you very much for that. Martin.
Yeah, got my mic. Yeah, so with regard to the top line that TKids would love to achieve, definitely we are in the customer acquisition phase. So we are looking to work with partners. When we say partners, it could be healthcare, clinics, schools, special education institutions, foundations, NGOs, depending on where you are. Why are we doing all these things? Because there is a statistics that some of you may be aware of. Every $1 invested in education yield 13 times in terms of return. Right? $1 give you $13 in terms of return. And in fact, the earlier you are, it means that later on down the road, you have lesser social burden. But beyond acquiring new customers, beyond the financial sustainability, which are all very, very important here, TE Kids is my fourth venture. It's my fourth business. And I'm doing this partly because I have a daughter who is neurodivergent. And I remember there was a time in 2016, I was very lost. TE Kids is one, and we have 14 members really rallying behind this whole initiative together to bring global accessibility to early intervention, to bring parents help and make parents better parents. That's our goal, that's our objective. And we hope that if you are interested to bring TIGI into your platform, into your community, to make TIGI part of your decision making, policy making, come and speak with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Martin. And I think that brings us to a close. We've heard 5 really interesting innovation pitches that straddle different aspects and lots of takeaways for me. But I think really what kind of grips me is that each one of the presenters was driven by data, driven by intention, loads of passion, commitment, and so now it's up to us to make sure that the work that they do gets visibility, gets scale, and that we can help them get impact. So thank you all very much, and let's give a round of applause to the panelists. Thank you all very much.